How's it going, everyone? Want to talk some very exciting Black Myth Wukong news leading into the release of this game? I know my channel is going to be a small sample size, however, the amount of people that I read in my comment section that were skipping out on Black Myth Wukong for one particular reason, and that is being remedied very soon. They listened to you, and they are here to drop what you guys have been waiting on, or at least a lot of you, so we'll talk about that. And it looks like the game may be headed to Xbox here very shortly. I think this was a massive, massive blunder by Microsoft. We never really got clarity as far as why this happened, but we'll talk that in a little bit as well. Right off the top, the official Black Myth Wukong Twitter account did post Destined Ones. Thank you for your patience with the Master Disc for Black Myth Wukong ready. The PS5 physical edition will be available to you very soon. Look, I get it. Some of you guys are cool with digital gaming, others not so much. It is a little bit jarring when we, for the first time, are seeing what I would deem to be major game releases opt for a digital-only release. Alan Wake 2 was one last year, Black Myth Wukong another one. I think, you know, in the case of Black Myth Wukong, it was done by a new studio, and it's not like they are backed by a gigantic publisher. You know, they had some resources to work with, but I honestly understood why Wukong was digital only. However, again, leading up to the release of this game, and as we heard and talked more about it, the amount of people that I saw in my comment section saying no disc, no buy, no physical edition, no buy, etc., that was a lot of people, and I think this is something that they took into account. They listened to a lot of you guys that said that you weren't going to buy the game digital only, and I recently saw a comment on one of my videos, and I think it's applicable to a lot of people in that it's one thing buying games digitally when they're sub $10, when they're sub $5, but if you're spending a premium $60 on a game, at that point, a lot of you guys will not go digital. It's one thing, again, you get your PlayStation Plus offerings, you buy a game super cheap, that's fine to get it digital, but when you're talking a new game, $60, $70, you want that game as a disc release, which I totally understand. I totally took that notion from one of my recent videos where that was a top comment, but hey, it's a top comment for a reason. It looks like a lot of people do have that line of thinking, which again is totally understandable, but credit to Game Science in that they actually listen to people and they just deserve all the success. I played Black Myth Wukong. Do I think it's a perfect game? Absolutely not. I've been very vocal about my thoughts on these styles of challenging action RPGs. If you want to call it a Souls-like, I guess it's not really a Souls-like. Whatever you want to call it, you know, it's not really up my alley. What I did love about Black Myth Wukong was the presentation, atmosphere, visuals. I think all of those elements were really good. I do think the world design, and that's something that was reiterated a lot, did have some issues, but I don't think gamers are out here looking for absolutely perfect games. I think we want games to be what the developers originally intended them for them to be, and not buck to any sort of outside pressure. And I think Game Science got a lot of credit, and they've been handsomely rewarded for what they've done with Black Myth Wukong. So it's great. For me, I don't think it's going to be among the candidates for Game of the Year. I know a lot of people want to see it at that realm, but you just look at the reception, the critical reception. I just don't think it's going to get... Maybe it'll get nominated. I don't think it's going to win from the Game Awards, which, however much stock you guys want to put on that, I really do think Metaphor is going to win Game of the Year just because there is that little bit of recency bias attached to it, but Black Myth Wukong, I think for a lot of people would be comfortably in that tier 2 realm of Game of the Year. And I'm not here to assess whether or not Wukong should be Game of the Year. Again, these styles of games aren't really my cup of tea, but incredibly happy for Game Science's level of success. And I still enjoyed Wukong. I had a great time with Wukong. It's just I'm terrible at these games, so it's like, I'm not the one to meticulously break down every aspect of Wukong, but from a financial standpoint, them listening to the consumer, I'm all about that kind of stuff. I'm all about new IPs resonating at a high level, and I looked at Wukong, and I've constantly said it for the last few years. The hardest, absolute hardest thing to do in gaming is to create a single-player, big-budget IP, new studio, and it's a $60 or $70 game. Guess what? Wukong did absolutely that masterfully. You know what? Another game that did that masterfully? Stellar Blade earlier this year. I'll let you guys take with that information whatever you want. Two games that were outstanding successes these year, coming from relatively unknown studios over here in the West, new IPs, etc., etc. Moving on from that, it was also noted that Black Myth Wukong has been rated for the Xbox Series, PS5, and PC on the ratings board. Chances are an Xbox release is going to be happening soon. Man, I think Microsoft fumbled so hard here. We never actually got clarity as to why the game wasn't coming to Xbox, but if I would have to venture to guess, based on the performance on PC and PlayStation 5, I would imagine it has something to do with Xbox Series S support, and it seems like Microsoft won't buck on the need for parity. Now, with Baldur's Gate, to make it run on the Series S, they did forego, I believe it was split-screen co-op or local co-op. So they did buck on that, but in terms of the game needs to be on the Series S, and Black Myth Wukong had some technical shortcomings on PS5, so if you're talking Series S, that was a problem. However, we are in a year where PlayStation, from a exclusive standpoint, is a little bit lukewarm, to say the least. They don't have a lot of big budget first party titles coming out. They're relying on their third parties. However, their output comparatively to recent years was incredibly weak. Why are you handing them free games? Why? You're handing them free exclusives. Look, I get it that a lot of you guys view Xbox as being washed, but I don't want Xbox to be washed. As I've said over and over again, we need a healthy competitive gaming environment, and for Black Myth Wukong to just be forgone on Xbox for, several months, that's a huge problem. And let me reiterate, the issue with it is, yes, it'll ultimately come to Xbox, but as we've seen over and over again with single-player games like this, Final Fantasy XVI, Spider-Man 2, God of War Ragnarok, especially if you compare and look at the PC data that we have on those games getting delayed releases, the absolute pinnacle for 99% of single-player games like this is going to be the first week in the first month of release. Really, it's the first 48 hours a lot of time. Black Myth Wukong, obviously, fell off in its concurrent player base. There isn't that excitement around the game, and when you don't have it right when the excitement is at its pinnacle, that's a huge problem. Gaming, a lot of us are prisoners of the moment. We are talking about stuff that is in the dialogue right now. Gaming is very much, what have you done for me right now, and what have you done for me lately? You getting a game 3 months, 4 months, even 6 months after release, that is a huge, huge problem, and you see the reception for games like God of War Ragnarok doing fine on PC, but, peaking at 40,000 concurrent players. I guarantee you that number would be like 5x if Ragnarok dropped day one on PC. Now, obviously, PlayStation has reason to not drop their games on PC day one to create a lure for people to get into their ecosystem that is PlayStation 5, but Xbox, whatever the reason is for Black Myth Wukong not to be available on Xbox right out the gate, I don't know what it is. It wasn't a timed exclusivity deal from PlayStation, we know that, and I would have to deem that it was because the Series S was an issue. That's the only thing I could come to conclusion, because we've seen this in the past with a game like Baldur's Gate 3 also being delayed. It's something that Microsoft, I feel like it's too late for this generation, but next generation, they have to assess that, and they at least have to be a little bit lenient if you are doing a Series S and a Series X. Maybe let some games be X only, I don't know, but that it's a huge blunder. Like, it cannot be quantified how big of a blunder this is to lose out on games when they are the most important. Guys, these companies, Microsoft and PlayStation, both sign very, very large exclusivity deals with companies for what happened with Black Myth Wukong. You think Silent Hill 2 came out on PlayStation 5 for free? No. PlayStation and Sony had to write Konami a check or do whatever. They have to make these agreements. But with Black Myth Wukong, they literally got that for free because, for whatever reason, I don't know, but I would have to imagine, again, it's because of the lack of Series S support. But, I am a broken record on this. I do think it's something worth talking about, but at least it's coming to Xbox, and it's going to offer a new audience to play the game. I just think it would have been much more effective if the game did drop day one, because if you're looking at the games that people are looking at and wanting to pick up a next-gen console for, Wukong is certainly one of them. Wukong is absolutely one that people would be excited about for 2024. But that'll do it for me. Again, a lot of exciting updates with Black Myth Wukong across the board. That physical edition is finally coming, and it looks like the Xbox version should be coming here shortly as well. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.